all-female Shakespeare came about through lots of conversations that producer, actor Hannah Ellis-Ryan and I were having about Shakespeare and how we weren't really seeing that much of it on an independent level.
It was a very, very small step, but I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by so many amazing creatives. So I partnered up with, my friend Kaylee is an amazing director, and my friend Evelyn, a fantastic producer.
I think it was their sort of brainchild at the beginning, and then they invited me to join them. And the reason I said yes was this was a great opportunity to, create work for all the brilliant talent that I know in Manchester.
The three of us just started the very long journey of, can we put on an all-female Shakespeare? Where would it go? What are the logistics?
And it just all felt right. It just felt right that we should do some all-female Shakespeare in Manchester, in a smaller theatre and in an intimate space. And then we landed on Hope Mill, and that's how it all began.
So our very first one, Romeo and Juliet, which was last year, we did on a complete profit share. We applied for some funding pots, but we were unsuccessful. And we were lucky enough to get the full support from Hope Mill Theatre, the guys who run the theatre there, and they gave us the week. So we just had 1 week, and it sold out just really, really quickly, and the buzz was electric, and we got hundreds and hundreds of submissions from actors, and you think, okay, we're right, this is really important and people want this, they want to perform. This project now, we actually have got some funding for, which is great.
We added a lighting designer, we added a designer, we added a sound designer, and a budget for props and costumes. And although we still are supported by a lot of the local theatres and drama schools in terms of borrowing, begging, not stealing, objects for the show, it really frees us up.
Actors get a hard time, especially around casting. It's mortifying, and sometimes people will get sent so many things to learn, and then they'll only get seen for their 1 minute, and then they've got to go back to their lives. Spend a lot of time trying to figure out how are we going to do this, what's the best thing to do. I hate making people feel uncomfortable, so it is nice if people do get a chance to prepare something, but at the same time, it's horrible when people feel that they have to spend all week preparing something and then they don't get a chance to perform it all the way they want it. And so, yeah, it's an ever-changing thing. We always see something. I think people think they need to do their best, and actually, like, we can see what you're capable of doing. Even though right now I can see that you're struggling because you don't know the script or whatever, I can see what you can do.
This is tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It really is a big old chat at the end of trying to figure out how can we match this person and this and figure this out, and yeah, ends up being, again, a really wonderful but traumatic experience, because at the end you have a pile of people that, again, you haven't managed to fit in, which is hard because people are so good, and we could cast this over and over and over again. You speak to different actors who just say, oh, I just don't know where my casting is, I don't know how I fit, I can't play this, I can't play that, I can't play that, because we really struggle to break away from imagining that the heroine looks like this and that she's only good. The exciting thing about doing something like this is that if you're doing something all-female, like, you just start again. You don't say who are these characters if they're male and female, you just say who are they, and I think it's just a way of really kind of just taking gender out of the equation, which sounds really weird when the whole point is you're saying it's all female. But if you stop having men and women on stage, then you start having people on stage. And I think that's what we're working towards all the time anyway, is just to all be people, and what gender doesn't matter. As with what the show will be, just don't worry about gender. Like, it's like a spectrum, and you can look as glamorous and female and femme or butch or masculine or whatever, like, just play with that. And it's quite nice, I think, if there's one thing that seems quite feminine, feel free for, like, have like slick back hair with beautiful dress or any of those things. If it can feel really Danish, that would be great. So, yeah, like pastels.
We were both lucky enough to be in the production last year when we did Romeo and Juliet, and I think it was for me, a no-brainer to audition again and to apply again, because it was fantastic to be part of last year.
When it came around that they were doing Hamlet, it really felt like it just made total sense to apply.
I'd heard about the Romeo and Juliet production in the previous year. It just sounded like such a brilliant project, like a group of women putting on Shakespeare, more, you know, chances for different roles.
It's just a rare opportunity. It feels like a moment in Manchester theatre history. That sounds really cheesy, but I think it really feels like an epic production.
Somehow sort of a bit style.
Can you say anyone who's like close to ready, just so that we can see how it looks? Thanks everyone.
Still sort of in that same position.
Almost every creative profession, writing, dancing, I mean, especially things like dancing, musicians, we need to practice this craft. You need to get good at it. You have to do it every single day. And that's really hard for actors. So for me, that's the main ethos behind creating work for ourselves and putting on your own stuff is you want to stay sharp and you want to be good and you want to be ready to go when that opportunity does arise. And that's not easy. It's an everyday kind of job.
Anytime you get to do Shakespeare is just a privilege, and to do it with such a strong cast with their legacy left from last year is just super exciting.
When we all get in the room together, everyone's from such different backgrounds and there's such a kind of diaspora of interesting people, and we're all really focused. You know, we've all got one goal, we're all working towards making the show really good.
I think I feel really safe, and I know that I can take risks in rehearsal room, and that everyone around me is really supporting me, and I don't feel ever on edge.
For me, this project is completely different from anything I've ever done because it is a colossal role, it's huge, and I just don't think I've ever had an opportunity to play a part like this, and I actually don't think they write that many parts like this for women.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
It is like a roller coaster, and it's just an insane opportunity that I never ever thought in my lifetime I would get to play Hamlet.
Hi. Well done, everyone. Really nice. Really nice. Cool. I'm going to try and go really quickly through these.
I think the fact that there is an established production team who've been working on this before the actors even get in the room, that really helps as well create this really strong feeling of ensemble.
And I think it's really exciting having like a sound designer, Elle, coming in, and she'll just suddenly come in one day and just have this wicked soundtrack that she'll just put in the scene, and that just ups it again and again and again.
Kaylee and the whole production team have had just, they're so chilled. I mean, they might not be underneath, but they make it feel so in control. They know what they're doing. Yeah, the way she's guided us through the process has been great, because there was one scene in particular that I was really struggling with. I really didn't understand. And the second time we came back to it, I said that to Kaylee. I was like, I don't get it. She's like, well, just do it. And all of a sudden it just kind of clicked, and that's down to her and down to everyone else, just, you know, not pressuring you, just being like, we'll find it.
Very separated. The next one is something else. Yeah. And then it doesn't feel right for them to come to you that much. No. So we just need to figure out the journey to them. Lovely.
It's so important, I think, with this that we get a lot of women on stage, and I want them to all have like good roles. I don't want people to just be a servant that walks in for 5 seconds and then leaves. Like, I get really into like, who is the servant? What are we saying here? It needs to be an ensemble piece.
Can I do a number call, please? 1, 2. Good. 3. Bloody 3. 2, 3.
It won't won't feel like the final product on opening night. It will feel like this is the first time we put it in front of an audience, and then I'll get everyone back in the next day and keep working, because that's what we need. But we will have a really good idea of what the play is by that point. And yeah, this moment in time, a normal amount of nerves, but until we get into the space, there's loads of things that you just don't know. What's this gonna, we're imagining this wonderful backlit moment, what's that gonna look like? So there's, as I say, there's a lot of unknowns, so there's still a lot of work to do between now and then. But yeah, right now I'm feeling pretty good.